Hi, this is a video for beginners trying to do the single crochet. Just a few tips for you, which I just found teaching people quite helpful. What I've got here is something I started this morning just to show you. So I just explained that I've crocheted, I've chained 30 chains, but I've added one chain. It's called a turning chain. So if you want to do a project that's 80, you add one. If you want to do a project that's 20, you add one. Always add the one for the turning chain, and then you can start your single crochet back. The reason I've laid it out this way is to show you an easy way of keeping track of your stitches and your rows by using contrasting yarn here and here. I've done a colour change just so that you can see how many rows I've done. So if you think of it, the right side of your work has the tail from your chain on the right side. So if you can keep your tail that way, you know you're on the right side. So if we do a count now, you can see I've marked it. So every 10th stitch, so I've gone 30 chains, and then I've done a turning chain. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I've put a contrasting yarn in. Then I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that stitch is just under the yarn. Another contrasting yarn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I've done a turning chain, and then I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, that first one's under there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the reason I put this contrasting yarn in is just so it's easy to see if you go wrong. So if you, for example, done 2 chains here or missed one out here, that section is going to be shorter. You're going to have 9 stitches on that one. Same with that side. Also, I've shown you what I do, what I teach when you do a new line. So you do a new row. So I've come to the end of this row, I've done a turning chain, and then I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But in the very first, not in the turning chain, in the very first stitch, I've put a stitch marker in the top of it. It's just so that when you get to the end on the return row, you know that that stitch needs to be gone into it. Quite a lot of people miss this first stitch and their work ends up going like this. So put a stitch marker in there. And the reason I've got a hairpin this side is because if you haven't got a stitch marker, use a hairpin. So I'll just show you, this last section has 10 more stitches to go. And I've left it not done, so I can show you what I would do next. I would take the stitch marker out that I've got just keeping my work at the moment. I would then flip this back over there. So it would in fact go behind the work. So it would go behind the work there. And then I'll crochet into this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there's the one I need to crochet into. This one here, if you don't put a marker in it, it can end up going underneath your work, and then you think it's not there, so you go just into this one, and that's when the work can start to go in. So another way of having this hack really is to count your rows. So this is the right side because the tail's on the right of the work. So when I started, I'd done 30 chains and 1, so 31, then I went back, and I've been going that way ever since. Every time I've done a row, every time I've come to this stitch like here, I've flipped this contrasting yarn over. So this one stitch here counts as 2. So that was the first row. This is the second row, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So if you have this again on the underside, because you can see the tail is on the underside, again, that is the wrong side. This is the right side. So on the right side, you won't see that tail. So that's how you can count easily again. So every stitch there counts as 2. So if I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, I know that's 8 rows. So if you look at your work now, this is the chain. So you just see these marks here, like there's a V if you flip it. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see a defined line in between. If you're looking on the right side, you know that's 2 rows. If you're looking on the other side, you would look at these 2, but that's the other side. I will show you the other side in a moment. So yeah, I just thought I would show you that. Also, if you're a beginner, start your chain row in a larger size, and all your other work go down a size. Go down 2 points, which is 1 millimeter. It just makes this a lot easier. You can't even see that it's a bigger hook. It just makes it a lot easier to go into the chain. I always go into the back bump, but that's, you know, that's another thing. It's just something you get used to. So yeah, I'll take these pins out now, and I'm going to show you what happens on a single crochet or a UK double crochet when you don't secure it. Now this is all work in a single crochet or UK double. Because it's such a tight stitch, it will curl. So you just watch now. It will start to curl this way, and it will start to curl this way. Those 2 curls will always be there. As it grows, it will become straight in the middle, but the 2 corners will always curl. Once you start doing pattern stitches, you don't really get this curl. I've even sort of gone up a hook size just to show you, but to show you as well, it will curl, because single crochet on its own is a tight stitch. It's great to learn single crochet as a beginner, but you'll find when you start doing pattern stitches, you won't use it on its own. You'll rarely use it on its own, actually. So I'm just going to take this out now so I can show you the other side. And so this is the right side, tail on the right, tail on the right. Now I'm going to flip it over to see what I've done on the other side. This is the wrong side. So you can see that it's going to be harder to count because you've got this little row down here. You've got this row down here. That's the single crochet from the other side. So it's going to be harder to count because you might say, oh, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you'll miss this one. So this one's coming out of here, look. So if you count them now, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But these 2 tails are coming out of this side. And I joined it there because I joined another piece of contrasting yarn. That's the only reason I joined it. All this yarn will come out after. It's just good to keep it in the work as you're going, because if I flip it round, you can see they're both parallel. If they're parallel, you can see that there's nothing going on in the middle. That's square, that's square. There's no added stitches. I've not dropped any because the count's still 10. So the easy way to explain this, if you go along your row and you count 10, you can count 10, flip your yarn over like this and do the next one. Count another 10, flip it over. So you can use this on a project, this 80 plus 1. You can use it on 30 plus 1. I would just always recommend to do 10, 10, 10. If you do 5, you're doing putting too much in. If you do 20, it could be too much that you don't see if you've added any stitches. I would just recommend 10. You can do this with double crochet. It's just a hack. I see a lot of people start a project and they start off with 95 stitches, which is really, for a beginner, really, really long. And then they get so lost in what they've done, they don't know how to count the stitches or the rows. But putting these in just makes both really so much easier. And I just put a little stitch marker on the bottom. Again, used hairpins. Stitch markers are easier because they're coloured. So I know that the green ones at the bottom are just my temporary tails going in there. I know that the red one is where I'm going to take it back out and pick it back up. And the blue, I would have a blue either end, and that would just go up with the work. So if I just take this one out a minute and replace it with another blue, that would be, stuck together, that would be my very end one. I'm just going to pop that back in just to show you. No, it's that stitch there. That one, that last one. You see how it goes, if there's not a marker in there, it just pops down. So if I put that back in there, I can show you that's the first one I've done, and that's the first one from the last row. You're only ever marking the first stitch. You're never marking the last one, because if you mark the last one, you'd have to take it back out straight away. So I'm just going to show you what I'll do on the very last bit. If I keep my work up there like this, take that out, put the correct hook back in. And now I want to make sure, so pretend that's this side at the moment. So I'll just grab up my yarn, and now I want to flip that over so it's now at the back. And then this is the very first stitch. So it sort of hides it a bit. That's the first stitch there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's my 10th one. So because I've been working it, you see it just wants to disappear really, but by keeping that marker in there, you know it's got to go in. You've got to go into it. You're not going to lose it. So you can easily lose that now, but you know you've got to go into that one to make your 10th. There's my 10th. And that makes, so if I put a stitch marker in that and then turn it, I'd have to take it back out straight away. So there's no point in putting a stitch marker. So just pull it up a little bit, flip the work. Now I always go back in that side. I always take it out the hook and put it back in, just because I think it's neater, but you can keep it in if you like. And then we do our chain 1. There's chain 1. And then that's the first crochet there. That's the first one you go into, and that's the first one you want to mark again. So mark that stitch, that one there. And then you go along again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And again, that yarn's now this side because I flipped it from the other side, and I can just flip it back over. And I tend to pull it just a little bit so I can see the stitch, and there's my next stitch. So 1, 2. Now, I don't really have to count now because I know that square. If I go into every hole now, I'm not going to count. Just not going to do it. Don't need to. I probably still do in my head, to be honest. I'll count everything. Doing 30 plus years crochet and I still count. Okay, so that was 9 and there's 10. And I flick this one back over. Like I said, you can do this as wide as you want. As long as you put these markers in every 10, you really can't go wrong. And then 1 again. So don't say that's like 21. Just say 1 again. 1, 2. There's no need to say 21 because it's counting for you. So you can see that square, very square. You can put them a bit tight if you want, like that. But remember, this is the back. This is the wrong side of your work, or the back side of your work, because these tails are here. This is coming out here. This is coming out, and this is on the left. It's not on the right. So if I flipped it back over, you would see that's the right side. Tails on the right, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 even. If you want even number of rows, just make sure your tails are on the other side and you can count, and your tails not coming out this side, you'll have even rows. I don't think there's anything else, so I think that's it. Yeah, thank you.